How far? You did 86 work with it. I looked at the pressure community. My wife, I feel for him, sorry.
Being 6 p.m., I now call to order the meeting of the Appomattox County Board of Supervisors. Please stand for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Heavenly Father, we recognize you tonight as the sole creator and sovereign over all the earth. We realize that in the book of Romans, you state that that all leaders are appointed by you and serve for you. We ask that your guidance be given us tonight as we go through these issues for the county, and we will do what is best for all the citizens and not just specific groups. We ask your blessing upon our EMS, our fire, our police department as they serve the county, that you keep them safe and away from harm. We ask in Christ's name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Seated. All right, first up is the setting of the agenda. And gentlemen, I'd like to make the following changes to the agenda. If you approve, number one, that action item 6, resolution for honor of FFA week, that we move that to in front of the citizens' comment period so that they can leave at an acceptable time. And also move item 1, Mr. Trent from the Blue Ridge Regional Jail, move him following the FFA resolution in front of the citizens' comment due to another appointment that he has. So if and add 3 more items to the closed meeting agenda. All right, Mr. Hips has moved that we approve the agenda with the amendments that I've made. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the agenda as amended is approved, which we'll start out with, I'm looking for her. Where is it? Yeah, Ms. Duncan, are you present?
Mr. McCain.
Or the FFA is
McCain, he's here, the teacher. One of our teachers.
okay. Somebody said, all right, the FFP people, let me read this. The resolution that hopefully the board will adopt says, whereas FFA in agricultural education provided a strong foundation for the youth of America and the future of food, fiber, and natural resources systems, and whereas FFA promotes premier leadership, personal growth, and career success among its members, and whereas agriculture education and FFA ensure a steady supply of young professionals to meet the growing needs in the science, business, and technology of agriculture, and whereas the FFA motto, learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, living to serve, gives direction and purpose to these students who take an active role in succeeding in agricultural education, and whereas FFA promotes citizenship, volunteerism, patriotism, and cooperation, and whereas Appomattox County High School and Appomattox Middle School have agricultural education programs and 100% membership in the National FFA organization. Now therefore be resolved that the Appomattox County Board of Supervisors does hereby recognize the week of February 21st to 28th of 2026 as National FFA Week. Adopted. All right, board, do I have a motion to approve this resolution? Mr. Tips has moved to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Reverend Jones has seconded. All those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, opposed? Okay, now I can say adopted by the Board of Supervisors of Appomattox County on 17th day of February 2026. And which one of you young ladies is going to accept this certificate for the FFA? There you go. Let's give these. that hand. Thank you. All right, next up, we'll have Mr. Tim Trent of the Blue Ridge Regional Jail Authority, who's requested to appear before the board to discuss the jail and reentry program proposal. Mr. Trent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. I'm Tim Trent. I'm administrator for Blue Ridge Regional Jail Authority, which Appomattox is one of the member jurisdictions. Recently, I've been meeting with Bedford County admin as well as the sheriff. They have actually, what they want to do actually is come up with the substance use and reentry program at the jail. And to do that, what they're going to do is they're applying for a grant through the opioid abatement money. All jurisdictions got some sort of amount of money through the opioid funds, except the jail can't directly get it. We have to get it through our jurisdictions. So what they hope to do with this program is we have a lot of people in our jails that have a substance use problem. A lot of them are there because of substance use, or whether it's caused them to be there for larceny, whatever it may be. But whatever happens, once they get out, it's like a revolving door. They come straight back to us. And this program that we're hoping to put together, and like I said, Bedford County is actually spearheading it, will use those opioid funds. Each member jurisdiction will be required to provide a match, not taxpayer money, but out of opioid funds that each jurisdiction has. And what we plan on doing is it'll establish clinical care, recovery support, and reentry planning. Several years ago, I've been doing this a long time, and several years ago I actually partnered with Horizon on this same type of program with mental health inmates. They were getting out, we were giving them 7 days of medication. When the medication ran out, they were coming back to our jails. Didn't know where to go to get it. So what we did, I partnered with Horizon. We started a reentry program, and an individual from Horizon worked with them while they were in my jail, picked them up when they got released. At the time, Horizon had grant money. They provided housing, temporary housing, transportation, scheduled their appointments, showed them, told them, explained where they get the medication. And the recidivism rate for that group of individuals went from a state average of about 70% down to the low 30s, which means we were seeing less and less of these individuals with mental health coming back into our jail. They were becoming productive citizens in the community. This program is based on that, but this program deals with substance use, and we see it all the time. We have inmates that come in all the time that are either own something, have a bad habit, or they bring it into our jails secretly secreted in their body somewhere. We've had several ODs in our jails from an individual that brought it in inside their body. So it's a bad problem. What this program will hope to do by reducing that recidivism rate is the cost per day per inmate, according to the jail cost report that the Virginia Compensation Board has to provide to the General Assembly, is $120.69 a day per inmate. So what we're hoping to do with this is those individuals that don't come back to jail, one, we're saving that member jurisdiction, whether it be Appomattox, Amherst, Bedford, or Campbell, whoever it may be, from that having to pay that percentage or that amount of money per day for an individual inmate. It also, Sheriff Richardson, who I've talked to last week, is in full support of this program. His deputies don't have to deal with these individuals anymore. If we can get them to get off of these drugs and rehabilitate them, reconnect them in the community with the proper stakeholders, there's a good chance these individuals won't see me, they won't see Sheriff Richardson, they won't be in the courthouse, and all of that is a drain on taxpayer money. So Bedford actually has consultants they're working with on trying to get this grant. They've put together, and I think I sent a copy of it to Ms. Adams to have for each one of you all. But basically, the first year, and it's based, the percentage of usage and the breakdown of the match is based on the percentage of usage in our jail. And what I mean by that is, out of 100%, Lynchburg's our largest contributor with the number of inmates that we hold for Lynchburg, and it's 40-some%. Appomattox is the lowest percentage of the individuals we actually hold in our jail. It doesn't have anything to do with the number of people that the sheriff arrests or whatever it may be. It has to do with the people that go to court and are sentenced, and we're actually holding them. So based on that percentage, and what they're looking for is a 10% match for the overall grant. Appomattox's portion for the first year, and the first year will only be for 9 months, because once we get the grant, hopefully get the grant, it'll be 9 months. It'll be 3 months into the fiscal year or the actual year before we can get started. So Appomattox's grant match portion is $5,202 for the first year. And this is out of opioid funds. It's not taxpayer money. The second year, or the years 2 through 5, because it's a 5-year program, Appomattox will be, and this is a 12-month, each 12 months for year 2 through 5 would be $6,806. So I'm here tonight at the request of Ms. Adams, after we talked about it, and we had a meeting last week with most of my board, as far as the county administrators, and the chief of police in Lynchburg, and they are in full support of this. The strategy not only addresses a critical treatment gap, but also helps jurisdictions manage costs associated with repeated incarceration, emergency services, untreated behavioral health needs. We don't just, one of the things that you may see is the overall daily cost. But out of my budget, last fiscal year, I paid $1.2 million in medications alone. So a lot of these inmates that we deal with that come in that are have a substance use problem do not take care of themselves while they're on the street. And when they come into our jail, per the Code of Virginia and the Constitution, we have to provide medical services to them. A lot of these medical services are very expensive. So I'm asking the board to consider joining this effort and moving this program forward. We have 6 jurisdictions, member jurisdictions in the authority. Halifax is the only one that would be out of the catchment area, because this partnership is actually with Horizon Behavioral Health. And so Halifax, for the first year, will not be in this program, but we're working with their CSB, or the Community Service Board, to be able to get them into it years 2 through 5. So we're hoping by the time we get this thing up and running, we're going to treat, our goal right now is 80 individuals. If we can treat 80 individuals and keep them from coming back to our jail, and in the next year or the 2 years down the road, we treat 80 more. If we have 50 or 40 successful, that's that many more individuals. We're saving lives, and in the long run, we're saving money. So, and I'll answer any questions you may have.
When would you need our commitment on this?
They're hoping to get the grant pushed through by, I believe it's the end of March, and they would need your commitment fairly soon.
Okay. Any questions from the board? All right, guess there's no questions, and we'll get your decision before the end of March.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Unless the board wants to make a decision tonight. All right,
As I understand it, was coming from the opioid funds, so it's not coming from.
Right, it's not gonna, but
taxpayers. So
we have to authorize Ms. Adams to sign us up with the program.
I make a motion, we do that.
A second.
All right, Mr. Wolfskill's made a motion that we sign on to the grant program, and Mr. Reverend Jones has seconded. Is there any further discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Ms. Adams, you can sign us up with the grant. All right, next up is the citizen comment period. This time is provided by the board to allow citizens the opportunity to address the board on issues of importance to the citizen. No individual citizen shall be permitted to address the board for more than 3 minutes. And I want to stress that this is a citizen comment period. It's not a question and answer period. It's not an open dialogue period. So you'll have 3 minutes to make your comments. And let's see. First up, we have Mr. John Zabel. If you'll step to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
My name is John Zabel, and I live at 5353 Wildway Road. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. For reference, a copy of my comments is in front of each of you. I would like to discuss what I believe are violations of Appomattox County Code by the applicant for the Rifleman's Resort on Wildway Road. An application for a conditional use permit was posted to the county on 11 November 2025. By posting this, the applicant expressed intent to construct a large-scale commercial enterprise. Any construction after this date can only be construed to be associated with commercial property and not personal use. After the Board of Supervisors meeting on 20 January, I was informed that large-scale construction had begun and been posted on Facebook. On 21 January, I went by the site on Wildway Road. I did this for 2 reasons. First, the applicant invited citizens to visit at the boss meeting. Second, to see if a permit was posted at a construction site as required by section 19.2-2 of the county code. I did not see a permit, but I did see a no trespassing sign that depicted a silhouette of a rifle and crosshairs, which implies if you trespass, you will be shot. A picture of this is at tab A. I did not enter the property. Also on 21 January, I emailed the county administrator's office and asked if any permits had been issued since I saw none posted. I was told there are currently no permits on file. I then viewed a Facebook video posted by Mr. Jamie Terry on or about 15 December. It shows both road construction and large amounts of earth movement on the property. A screenshot of that video is located at tab B. On 22 January, as a concerned citizen, I filed a formal code enforcement complaint form with the county administrator's office, requesting an investigation be done. That is at tab C. Section 19.3-8 of the county code states specifically that no land disturbing activity shall occur until a permit has been issued. By constructing roads and moving large amounts of earth without a permit, I believe the applicant violated the county code. In addition, since County Code Section 13.1-1 states that for criminal offenses, state regulations will be used, and Commonwealth Law Section 28.2-13-18 states this type of violation is a Class 1 misdemeanor, criminal violations may also have occurred. What I find even more concerning is during the meeting on 20 January, 2 supervisors asked the applicant if engineering work, specifically earth movement, had been done, and the applicant responded no. I would request that the board consider suspending the conditional use permit until a formal investigation by the county administrator's office and the sheriff's office can be conducted to determine if the applicant violated the law. Unless you have any questions, thank you for your time.
Thank you, and we'll take a look at it and discuss it with the appropriate county officials. All right, next up, Mr. Adon Irwin. State your name and address for the board.
Hello, my name is Aidan Irwin. My address is 304 Piney Mountain Road. Let me get my notes open. All right. First of all, good evening, gentlemen and ladies, all ladies present. Greetings. My name is Aidan Irwin. I want to start out expressing gratitude to all the members of the board here, as well as everybody else in the community who works to enrich our local community. I know that running a town and a county is not easy, especially in this modern economy, which is a complex system that some will devote their entire lives to understanding and still never fully grasp. Nothing you gentlemen do will satisfy everyone, nor should satisfaction be your whole goal. And I know, or at least hope, that you are all aiming to make well-informed decisions for the good of and behalf of the people of Appomattox County and the county itself. However, I also understand how large businesses, especially those of tech and let's say venture capitalists, how they tend to run their businesses, and it looks quite different than how you would have to run a county, which considers people. They consider numbers. They consider people as numbers as well. They look at trying to stay in the black by the next quarter. They look at caring for their shareholders. In the case of data centers specifically, they're looking at maintaining deadlines and not being penalized for breaching those and their contracts. Many of these places are predatory and come to places like Appomattox to take advantage of the ignorance of the locals and they cause harm to the local ecology as well. The CEO and founder of AVAIO has stated that they look for spots just like Appomattox. Secondly, we're promised that the tax revenue will be a silver bullet to answer things like the county's debt. Maybe also you have in mind increased public sector spending, which might be necessary, maybe not. I hope maybe not, as I was informed that the county is in significant debt. Also concerning taxes from data centers, the state of Virginia has lost, last year alone, $1.9 billion due to tax abatements. These are things that should be taken very seriously. Would we be able to ensure that the taxes promised by a data center would actually be able to be provided, right? That we wouldn't be losing money as they purchase things with how quickly their assets depreciate, how quickly they're having to purchase new hardware, et cetera. I will say, finally, I do want what is best for this county, and I'm more than willing to continue to put all of my effort into helping find small and medium-scale industry and assist with the federal effort to reshore industry from overseas and give meaningful, helpful work to the people of Appomattox wherever I'm able. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Irwin. Up next is Mr. O'Brien. Pardon? Withdraw? Okay. All right, up next, Faye Coleman.
My name is Faye Coleman, and I reside at 2156 Oakville Road. I am here today to express my concerns about the proposed data center, which would be located approximately 1 mile from my home. Our house is located on top of a hill on Route 26, and we have beautiful views. My husband and I regularly sit outside and enjoy the peace and the serenity that we are now experiencing. The Economic Development Authority, the EDA, consists of 7 individuals who made this deal with AVAIO on behalf of the 15,000 citizens of Appomattox County. To my knowledge, these deal makers did not have any local studies done to determine how the air pollution, noise pollution, light pollution, and the water usage caused by this mega data center, how it would impact our area. I am of the opinion that these deal makers focused only on the possible financial gain. So basically, there was no concern for the well-being of the citizens or the environment. I hate to say it, but I have little confidence in our EDA. The proposed site of the data center is right on the edge of the town limits. Any air or noise pollution will impact town residents, the schools, the businesses, and the tourists who were visiting our historic area. AVAIO must have presented a pretty package to our EDA. It's heartbreaking to think the lifestyle of so many people stand to be negatively impacted by this data center. According to one of the EDA members, and I will not mention his name, we will become casualties of the data center. I have invited my supervisor, Reverend Al Jones, to my home to see what our lifestyle is currently. He has graciously promised to come one day this week. I hereby invite every member of this board and Ms. Adams to come at a time and date convenient to both you and us. My plea is that a moratorium be put in place so that studies can be performed by an independent, non-biased company. We need time to conduct real impact assessments, update protections, and put public health first. Thank you for this opportunity to speak, and I pray that my words have not fallen on deaf ears.
Thank you, Ms. Coleman. All right, next up, Mr. Weekly.
My name is Steve Weekly. I reside at 322 Richwood Estates Road in Appomattox. I just want to let the board know that currently there are 14 states that are banning or looking into banning data centers. While none has actually been banned right now, they're actually looking into it. There's actually 24 states in the United States, half of the United States, that have mandatoriums right now against any data centers. They've all been stopped. The construction of data centers are being stopped in these 24 states. Currently, Virginia has 42 active groups trying to stop data centers in the state of Virginia. Just like to have the board know that. I'd also like to know if anybody from the Economic Development Center had actually visited and spent any time with current operating data centers. I have. I was in construction. I've seen them. I've had contractors that are building these things that makes millions of dollars off of them say they would not have them in their neighborhood. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Mr. Weekly. All right, next up, Mr. Steve, is it Nadler?
Good evening to all. My name is Steve North. I live at 268 Lemon Ridge Lane in Appomattox. Just wanted to call and come and kind of call your attention to information that I found out about the data center, which I find concerning. I think that the data that is found on this particular project is a closed-loop system. Closed-loop systems, although they don't use nearly as much water, the power usage is substantially more. The initial power usage on this particular project is 300 megawatts, and that will quickly grow to 1,000 megawatts. Just to keep that in perspective, Lynchburg in 2024 used 1,200 megawatts for their entire city. With gas generator, which is also something, not just a backup generator, but also a natural gas system, which is in use of the pipeline that is running through that area. To spec, or at least what has been required by the designer, is 700 megawatts. And also an on-site solar of 30 megawatts. So there's not only the additional noise, the additional heat, the additional runoff. There are several different things in, as far as I'm concerned of, that are emissions that would be harmful for the environment. So I would caution against just moving forward with this without doing substantial surveys for the impact of the environment. Let's see. Also, based on if this is something that you decide to do, and we decide to do as a community, I would also be concerned with recourse if things were not in scope. So if the noise or the runoff or the environmental concerns got outside of the parameters, what legal or contractual agreements could we have put in place prior to ensure that we can get it back into scope as soon as possible? And that's all I have this evening, but I wanted to thank you for listening, and have a great evening.
Thank you, Mr. North. All right, next up, Sarah Elyard. Is it Elyard? Am I saying that right? Okay.
Good evening, and thank you for your time. I'm going to jump right into some questions. I've asked several of my Board of Supervisors member and did not receive some clear answers. So,
Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
I apologize. My name is Sarah Elyard, and I live at 1125 Vermilion Road in Appomattox. What is your contingency plan for this data center? What will happen to a campus that may be obsolete in 5 to 10 years, as is the pattern in much of the tech world? To what depth is the soil restoration required after this data center closes its doors? Many other localities have had to take on the retirement of a data center that's been retired themselves. Does the proposed data center bar any other industry from coming into our industrial park, or does it give complete industrial monopoly to an industry with an already failing reputation? The nearsightedness of this plan is concerning for both lifelong Appomattox residents and recent transplants like myself. We all love this town, and that is why we took the time to show up. Are you, the board, comfortable with that being on your hands? The tax revenue is good, but at what cost? I don't know if most of you seated there can actually truly grasp the gravity of change that this large industry will bring to Appomattox. I went to Richmond for Lobby Day last week and got to talk to people that actually live in proximity to these. And I can tell you that there are a lot of stories, and we should listen to them. The answers that we as your constituents have been given have been vague and lack actual verifiable metrics on a local scale. That is the tactic that these projects use. It is smoke screens up until the point where it's too late to fight. To my water question, I was told eventually they could build a reservoir on a river that already experiences extremely low levels during the seasons of drought. This data center is going to use 3+ times the amount of water that our largest current consumer does. What entity is in place to ensure Avio does not deviate from the more costly but more environmentally friendly measures? How much will that cost? Will this set us back further? What percentage of this supposed tax revenue will be spent on continuous impact studies, on impact mitigation, and on impact compliance? Will Avio have to comply with dark sky lighting for the protection of surrounding people and livestock? Do you have absolute control over the EDA, or have they gone rogue for the sake of short-term gain? The average Appomattox citizen should not have to make local government a hobby that consumes their time to know what is happening here. Thank you for your time.
All right, next up is Mr. Thomas. Do you say roof or rough? I've heard it both ways. Okay, thank you.
My name is Thomas Roof. I reside at 132 Twin Pond Lane. While the data center is charged for its electrical use, which is substantial, we are charged, it's charged as the user, but we are charged for infrastructure improvements, that is, everybody in the network, which is multiple states. I wanted to point that out. And it has been stated that the data center will prevent a tax hike for much-needed infrastructure and facility improvements in Appomattox. While tax revenue and facility improvements are good, the data center will contribute to a price hike in electrical utilities of Appomattox citizens. Would Appomattox, assuming the data center is built, with Appomattox, which is trying to keep a new tax burden off of its citizens, be able to provide a tax credit or subsidy to cover the difference in higher power costs until new power generation can be created and prices stabilize. If not, this data center will contribute to a burden far worse than a property tax increase, and there are people who cannot afford such a rate increase. So it looked like the county government is getting rich while citizens get poorer. On top of that, perhaps funds could be used to support lobbying in Richmond to change the power distribution laws. So that's something I think you all should think about.
Thank you, Mr. Roof. Up next, Ms. Susan Walton.
Hi, my name is Susan Walton. I reside at 317 Slate Ridge Drive, Appomattox, Virginia. Over the past several months, I've taken an extreme amount of time to thoroughly research every aspect of this data center project that I could possibly get my hands on. As a longtime resident and a business leader, I strongly support responsible economic growth. I want to be very clear. I am not in opposition of economic growth. I am opposed to development that moves forward without accountability and adequate protections for the people who live here. Throughout this process, obtaining information has been extremely difficult, frustrating to say the least, and getting answers has been even harder. In my findings, you as the Board of Supervisors have largely stepped back from the responsibility, and the EDA has hidden and operated behind non-disclosure agreements, leaving us, the residents, trying to understand the decisions that will affect our community for generations. While the EDA is planning for future growth, we look to you as our elected officials for those protections. From a financial standpoint, in my background as a financial leader and a business owner, I find the current option to purchase agreement negligent and completely irresponsible. The fact that it was willingly executed is absolutely astounding to me. Most of us would never sell land, a home, a major asset without getting money, without receiving even a deposit. And that is exactly what has happened here. We haven't had clear terms. We have no idea what we're getting. The land within the park is being sold far below what comparable acreage in other areas for other data centers are being sold for. The option to purchase is actually 68% less than what I paid for the exact same land in the industrial park 10 years ago. And what's even funnier, that price that you all effectively sold it for is 60% less than the 2026 tax assessment that I just received. One of my greatest concerns in all of this is public health and quality of life, particularly related to noise and air quality. The current ordinance that you have in place offers no protection to us as residents. You list now a 24-hour permissible sound level that reaches up to 80 decibels. That level is not acceptable to EPA, who helps with the infrastructure along with OSHA to define the permissible exposure limits. Again, no protections in place. Continuous industrial mechanical noise at those levels will affect long-term health. These are not theoretical concerns, they're measurable documented impacts, and I'm asking you to get involved. Step up and get involved with the EDA, slow this process down, and protect the people that put you in those seats.
All right, next up, Mr. Rod Stanley.
Rod Stanley, 1207 Lemon Ridge Lane, Piney Mountain District. I'm going to change this up. This has nothing to do with the data center. Sorry. My comments are concerning what Kelly Childress presented to you last week. She's the director of the American Civil War Museum. I am completely in full support of that. Now, some of you on the board do not know my background. I just want to be perfectly clear here. I was an education specialist and supervisor for 6 years at the museum. Once I retired, they asked me back to be the director of the Appomattox Advisory Council for the museum. That has 18 residents, area residents on it who fully support the museum. And also at that same time, I became a board member of the museum. So to say that the museum means something to me, well, that's just putting it lightly. Okay. Now, as I said, I was an education specialist. That's where my passion was. If our school district, our schools take full advantage of that museum and what they can teach those children, our future, those kids will become the best student citizens there are in the country concerning the Civil War, understanding the Civil War, and more importantly, understanding the consequences of that war, the consequences that we're still feeling today through all sorts of different social aspects. The past 11 years that I've been associated with museum, that was my number one reason, but slowly over time, another reason developed of why I fully support that museum. And I'm going to channel some words from our biggest benefactor. Without him, I wouldn't be up here because the museum wouldn't be up here. That benefactor was Bill Jamerson. Bill, he didn't think much of the Civil War. That wasn't up here on his list of priorities. The reason he was such a benefactor is because he knew what that museum could do for this town, for this community. Okay. That is a diamond in the rough right there. It brings people in. People come to Appomattox and think, should I reside here? Oh, look what they have here. This is more than just some hick town out in the rural Virginia. Oh, I'm a proud member of the community, so don't think that negatively. But I do appreciate your support and any support you can further give for the museum. Thank you.
All right, next up is Caleb Johnston.
Thank you for your time. My name is Caleb Johnston, and I live at 6834 Red House Road in Appomattox. It's been my home there for the past 5 years, and I'm happy to say I love living here. I get my milk from a local farm, I get my honey from local beekeepers, and I get eggs from chickens in my own backyard. And I can genuinely say that I plan on never moving. I wish to live the rest of my life here in Appomattox, which is why I am very concerned about a proposed AI data center here. Now, there's lots of reasons to love living in Appomattox. I think part of it is a good bit of peace and quiet, and relatively speaking, a low cost of living. However, we don't have to go very far to see how that would change with an AI data center. You just go a few hours up north to Northern Virginia, over by Ashburn. Local residents there already talk about it because they already have hundreds of AI data centers there. There's complaints about 24/7 constant noise, lower water pressure in their homes, especially for those living nearby, and of course, a higher electric bill. And whatever money is being promised to the county, I can assure you it's not worth it. Everybody's costs of living are going up, bills are going up. We don't need this. We don't need something else to raise up our cost of living. We don't need higher electric bills. We don't need 24/7 noise here in Appomattox. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up, Sandy Glass.
Good evening, Board. I come to you here as a resident of Campbell County. My name is Sandy Glass. I reside in Evington, Virginia. I come here today as a friend and neighbor to the citizens of Appomattox. I own property just on the fringe of Campbell County, relatively close to Appomattox, and we are battling the same data center issues over in Campbell County, and we need to join together to fight this. The NDAs, the under-the-radar code changes, the misrepresentation of staff to your boards. In fact, our Board of Supervisors didn't even know until 3 months ago when I discovered it in FOIA documents that we actually had approved a data center before the code change, before the approved use, and that was only discovered months ago through FOIA documents. The data center is already approved by the Planning Commission before it was even a permissible use. Does this sound familiar? I recently attended a data center development conference, and let me tell you, they're after you. You're under attack. We're under attack for our air. We're under attack for our water. We're under attack for our electricity. And let me tell you a new term I learned there. It's called clustering. Once you get one, others will follow. So make no mistake, this is not the only one coming. We have the exact setup of water and electricity in this area. And they don't want you interfering with the plan. The mode of operation is to sign NDAs, to make code changes, make it a by right use, so that you, the citizens, don't have a say. We too are under attack for our water, battling 2 data centers that claim to need over $2 million a day. This attacks us as a region, as a whole, and we ask that you stand with us and support it as I stand here today and help support you. And let me draw your attention to a case that's going on right now in South Mississippi, near a Black community. A data center, Elon Musk data centers, come into that community. They've not had enough power, so you know what they've had to do? They've had to keep those generators fired up and running all the time because there's not enough power. So when you're told that it's going to be a closed-loop system and they don't need the water, when you're told those generators don't emit CO2, when you're told those generators are only going to run for a little while, I point you to that case study. And you know what the regulators told them? They backed away. There's no regulation. There's no one to enforce those rules. So I ask you to stand here today with me and join this fight. Keep up the fight. This is not over. There's a lot of rebuttal coming out of all communities all across America, and I encourage you to keep up the fight. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Matt Mitchell.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Matthew Mitchell. I live at 9570 Red House Road. Mr. Hinkle, in opening prayer, you said y'all were here for what's best for all and not one group, okay? So I don't understand how y'all think this data center is best for us. The main thing that most of us in this room want and everybody in this community wants is answers, which we haven't received any of it. Y'all had to sign forms to keep things hidden. And I've come to realize, dealing with crookedness in this county for years, if it's hidden, it shouldn't be known. Are our taxes going to go down, or our property values going to go up? Are power bills for the community, are they going to keep rising, or are they going to benefit us? And along with a major eyesore to many of my family and friends who live around this. You know, why certain ones don't like me is because I speak facts and I speak truth about the little hidden things that go on in this community for years and years and years, and it doesn't get brought to light. You know, people sit down at the local restaurants and talk about it, but I'm going to bring it out on Facebook Live. You know, Susan Adams, I could say a lot about you. Mr. Simpson, your dealings with getting kicked off the EDA board, I could say a lot about that. I just ask that y'all remember, not all dollar is a good dollar. And the last thing I have to say is to that lawyer right there, y'all need to consider hiring a new one, because there's a reason he's sitting there after 6 p.m. at night, because he ain't worth a crap, and he let that contract go through for that data center. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Mitchell. All righty, is there anyone who didn't sign up who feels motivated to speak right now? I'll give you a chance. All right, hearing none. We'll move into appearances. These are scheduled times that are provided by the board to allow citizens and organizations outside the county government to discuss matters of importance with the board. First up, Mr. Alex Rendon with Dominion Energy is requested to appear before the board to provide an update on the Joshua Falls transmission project.
All right, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Thank you. I was just about to ask for the slides there. My name is Alex Rendon. I'm the External Affairs Manager responsible for Appomattox County for Dominion Energy. It's a pleasure to be here with you all tonight. I'm joined by my colleague, Robert Richardson, who will be presenting on some of these slides as well. I'm here to talk tonight about the Valley Link Joshua Falls to Yeet transmission project. I've been in front of you before to talk about this project at a very high level. We have some more detail now and are prepared to share that tonight. There we are. Before we get too specific, I do want to zoom out a little bit and talk about the need and the importance of this project, why we need it, why it's so important. As you've heard before, Virginia is experiencing rapid growth of electricity demand. That is due to a number of factors. Data centers is one. Population growth, electrification, other economic activity, manufacturing, things of that nature are driving up in an unprecedented way demand for our product for electricity. By 2035, Virginia will need significantly more power than it needs today, and it will need more infrastructure to deliver that power across the state. You'll notice, oops, I'm going backwards there. You'll notice that this slide deck and some materials that have been distributed to your constituents, folks in the community, are branded as Valley Link Joint Venture. And I'm representing Dominion Energy tonight, so I want to take a minute to talk about what Valley Link is. It's there in the name. It's a joint venture between TransSource, Dominion Energy, and First Energy. TransSource is jointly owned by AEP and Evergy, American Electric Power. Each member of this joint venture brings different types of expertise to permitting, constructing, building, operating transmission line like Joshua Falls to Yeet. So now we can get a little bit specific about the project. Like I said before, Virginia is seeing rapid growth in electricity demand. Our regional grid operator, I talked about PJM the last time I got up to speak with you all about this project. They identify, they look at the whole grid. Virginia is interconnected to multiple different states, and they identify areas of potential, where there are potential future reliability concerns. And they solicit proposals to address those long-term reliability needs. This project, Joshua Falls to Yeet, is a result of one of those competitive processes where PJM, the grid operator, identified potential reliability issues and selected through a competitive process this project as the best solution to address those issues. The project, down to brass tacks here, is proposed as approximately a 115-mile, 765 kilovolt electric transmission line. It would originate at the Joshua Falls substation in Campbell County that I believe you all are familiar with. It would cross 9 counties, and it would terminate in Culpeper County at a proposed substation there. As we have started the process of developing these routes, or as we started the process of engaging different folks, it was very early on in the process, and we had a big study area. We've been able to narrow that down some, and I would say that now we're at the stage of really engaging the public in a really thorough way. Mr. Richardson, Rob, behind me, he's going to talk a little bit more about that, but I do want to stress that we are very much at the beginning of this process. It's an iterative process, and it's one in which public input and public feedback is going to be incredibly necessary to the success of the project. So with that, I'm going to invite Rob to come to the stand here and do a little bit, give you a little bit more detail.
Very good. Good afternoon. Rob Richardson from, I live in Richmond, Virginia. Appreciate the opportunity to speak to you tonight. What you see here on the screen is a map of all 9 counties where we're proposing to put electric transmission line routes. None of those routes are set in stone. None of them are final. We need one route from Campbell County to Culpeper. We started out with about 17 or 18 different counties in our study area. Last year, May or June of 2025, and as the routing team has looked at and studied these counties, worked on all of these, talking to planning departments, talking to county administrations to understand what kinds of constraints lie in your county. You know your county better than we do. These are the routes that have emerged. We are starting the outreach and engagement process, which means we're starting to talk to people who would be impacted by these routes. We have a series of meetings scheduled in March, 9 meetings where we're going to speak to residents in all 9 counties. We have 2 virtual meetings planned as well for people who can't attend one of our in-person meetings. At those meetings, we'll have a bunch of folks who are subject matter experts and routing experts and transmission line engineers to field questions from the public. And what we want to know is, how does the public feel about these routes? Do they cross their property? Do they not like these routes? Do they want us to do something different? So we want to take all that feedback into account as we talk to down button there. As we talk to residents. Then we'll take all that information back. The routing team will. They'll study it, and then we will have another round of meetings in June at same locations. Hopefully, talk to the same folks and explain what we can and cannot do. So that's sort of the way our process works. This information here explains, it says opportunities, constraints, engineering. We do everything we can to minimize impacts on residential property, on cultural, historical, and environmental concerns. So as we look at an area, as we look at a state, as we look at counties, we look at where can we and how can we avoid impacting the most people. How can we minimize impacts to wetlands? How can we minimize impacts to cultural or historic areas? And we start taking a strong look at these areas. And we work with your planning departments, and we work with people who know your county better than we do. We've done that so far. The routes I showed you, though, will change between our meetings planned in March and our meetings that are planned in June. 765 is a new voltage for Dominion on our service territory. AEP has had 765 kV voltage on its system for more than 60 years. We have not, so it would be bringing a new high voltage transmission line, high voltage transmission circuit into the region. You can see there that it's a fairly beefy structure that requires about 200 feet of right-of-way, structure heights 135 to 160 feet tall. The highest voltage we have on our system right now is 500 kV. It's what we use to bring bulk electricity into a region to serve the load, to serve customers. A 765 kV line, would bring in about 2 or 2.5 times the amount of power that a 500 line would bring in. This is Appomattox County, and you can see the routes that cross. We've got 2 main routes, kind of a gold and blue route, and then the yellow dotted line is a variation as we cross from Campbell County across Appomattox into Buckingham. The routes stay south of the Appomattox Buckingham State Forest, but they cross, I guess, in more of a northern part of Appomattox County, minimizing, looking at conservation easements. You're looking at where residential homes are focused, and we're trying to avoid all of those things we just talked about. You will, I know there's some interest in the map. You'll be able to see this online today, the website vltransmission.com, and we have an interactive map that you can use. You can zoom in and see these routes, see Appomattox County. Does a pretty good job of explaining the routes. And that's the website there. GeoVoice is a tool. It also serves as a commenting tool. So if you want to register, username and password, you can leave a comment on the GeoVoice map. If you just want to view it, you don't have to register. You can view the routes, and the QR code will take you there, just like the website vltransmission.com. I mentioned and talked a little bit about community engagement meetings in March and June. We last week, Thursday, I think, sent letters out to about 122,000 people who live between Campbell County and Culpeper. Those letters invited people to a meeting in the 9 counties, the virtual meetings. It laid out, the information about the meetings, the times, the dates, locations, and then we will follow up with a postcard to that same mailing list here in a few days, just letting people know that we have these meetings and that we want to talk with them and understand their concerns about these routes. That's important to us. The State Corporation Commission in Richmond, which has jurisdiction over routing and siting of electric transmission lines, asks Dominion Energy to provide meaningful involvement on our projects before they are filed. And so that's the reason for meetings in all 9 counties to understand the impacts. 2 rounds of meetings before this project is filed with the State Corporation Commission in September of this year. So we are working to get the feedback in those March and June meetings. We will refine those routes. We had we talked to some residents last week in Buckingham County, and types of comments we heard were, you show a line across my property, but there's this house that you see next to my property. No one has lived in that house the entire time I've lived here for 10 or 11 years. So why don't you move your route closer to that house? Those are the types of feedback that we want from the community. We want to understand, what's in your neighborhood, what's in your area, and unless we talk to residents, we don't get that feedback. So we appreciate those types of comments. This is just a slide that details the public engagement process with the meetings that I've talked about. Does that last date say? Oh, okay. So we're going to be here in Appomattox, March 10th at the Appomattox Community Center. 5:30 to 7:30 is when we're scheduled to be here. Again, then we'll come back in June and hope to talk to residents at both those opportunities. This is some information about how to reach us: phone number, email address, and the website vltransmission.com. Appreciate your time. We're happy to answer questions.
Any questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Hips?
how familiar are you with your own website?
With our own website?
Yeah, because I can't find the map on there. That's what I'd like to see.
If you go to vltransmission.com,
I'm on there.
projects at the top, you see
Okay.
projects? Click on Joshua Falls to Yeet.
Yep.
And then you scroll down, and the map, you have to click to agree to something.
Okay.
Click to accept cookies or something, I think.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions? Mr. Hutchinson?
So with the 765 kV structure, are you guys planning to add long-haul fiber? in addition to power?
That has not been discussed or addressed in any of the meetings that I've had. So I guess I'd have to say I don't know. I haven't heard of that. Nobody's mentioned that we're planning to do that. We can get back to you, but not as far as I'm concerned.
Gotcha. So that it terminates so in Culpeper, right? So it's going straight to Northern Virginia.
There's no off ramp. Correct. Yep.
Great. For the right of way that you're going to be building this within, what's the percentage of greenfield versus existing line?
Most of it's greenfield.
Is it in excess?
High percentage of high percentage greenfield. Yeah.
Okay.
There weren't many co-location opportunities that we've found in this area.
And is this being built in anticipation of generation going at Joshua Falls, or are you interconnecting towards, where does that go, Troutville?
The answer is yes. It's being built for a number of reasons. One, to bring in bulk electricity. This Joshua Falls generation facility and substation in Lynchburg goes back through Western Virginia, West Virginia, Ohio, and connects to generation back in that area. So it would bring that generation into this area. The grid is interconnected, as Alex said. PJM regulates 13 states in the District of Columbia. So you've got retirements, fossil fuel retirements in the Northeast. I joke, the people in the Northeast have realized that they make air conditioners. So lots of folks are adding HVAC and air conditioners in the Northeast. That is driving demand. You have an SMR, small modular reactor, that's been suggested here in Campbell County. We have proposed the same at our North Anna facility in Louisa. So you add all of those things together, and this 765 would have benefits to all those needs.
I would say specifically, this project is not directly connected to that generation project at the Joshua Falls substation, but as Rob said,
Sure.
everything interconnects. So.
And I noticed Dominion, I forget if it was within the last cycle, like January, December, when they put out the slide deck for the PJM projects looking forward, or if it was earlier in 2025. But there's a proposed east-west 500 or 765 kV line that runs roughly the 460 corridor and cuts south. Is that project interconnected with this in any way? Is that much further off? I see a transmission line cutting up the north side of my county, and where there's no off ramps here. So, is that going to be interconnected with an east-west route?
I'd have to look and see the project you're talking about. I'm not familiar with that. This project is planned to connect at Joshua Falls and end at Culpeper at a newly proposed substation. So any interconnection would have to start at Joshua Falls and go somewhere else. I'm not aware of that other project. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm a bit remiss, Board. Is there would you like us to read the statement that our attorney has prepared about the data center project, or? As a response to the comments, or just table it? Mr. Popovich, do you have a statement regarding the data center that you have prepared?
I have some comments. First and foremost, I would like to address the comment from the last gentleman who indicated that I was the one that drafted that contract, and I was not. I was not here. That gentleman has since passed away, so God rest his soul. Now, having said all of that, do I believe that contract is a very good contract? No, I do not. I think it was poorly written, poorly drafted, and poorly contemplated. Having said that, the horse is out of the barn. for purposes of that project. It's my belief that there's probably, at this point, a very good argument that that project has now obtained vested rights under the laws here in Virginia to proceed as they deem fit. Knowing that at this point, I certainly would suggest to this board that if you wish to address these concerns that have been raised by the citizens here tonight going forward related to any other projects going forward, we certainly should consider reviewing the zoning ordinance and incorporating certain safeguards and provisions in there respecting some of the issues that have been brought up in terms of post-closure issues. Are there going to be decommissioning bonds that need to be issued? Are there going to have to be certain types of setbacks, noise restrictions, those types of things? So that is a process that we can get started on now, and obviously take as much time as we want to develop it for purposes of ensuring that the next go-around is not like this one.
Is there any questions for the attorney at this time? Mr. Simpson?
One thought that I've had, and I grew up in a community with a major industrial employer through my childhood, and by the time I was in middle school, it had closed down and we had an empty shell building. And that's stayed in the back of my mind as we start looking at site plans and we see 300,000 square foot buildings. The last thing I want is multiple 300,000 square foot buildings sitting empty. Are we allowed in the current state code to create long-term restricted funds with specified intended uses? So essentially, it would be the federal government has brownfield funds or EPA super funds or whatever, but the thinking would be a small percentage of tax revenue from an associated project would capitalize that fund before the tail risk of an empty building it exceeds the risk tolerance of what we can kind of capitalize ourselves. So do we have that ability under state law now?
Yes. Localities are free to set aside funds as they deem appropriate for whatever purposes, lawful purposes they deem appropriate. So quite frankly, if Appomattox County wanted to set up an enterprise fund specific for data centers, and a certain percentage of whatever tax revenue is received by the county gets dumped into that enterprise fund for purposes of cleaning up the empty buildings per se, we could certainly do that. But what I was suggesting is that maybe we, as part of the making it a special use permit process or what have you, set a condition in there that at some point if and when they determine it's time to close the place down, just like with solar facilities, we require a decommissioning plan to be provided on how they're going to either remove the structure, bring the land back to its natural state, or somehow transfer the land to someone else for another use. But we'd have to do a lot of research and digging and trying to come up with the right, kind of terms, but I think that we can do that.
Right. Okay, well, Ms. Simpson, we're going down a rabbit hole here that's not on the official agenda.
Sure.
That would be something we should discuss in a budget meeting or when we can put it on another agenda. All right, next up is Mr. Keith Roy Floyd, Executive Director of Southside Virginia Alcohol Safety Action Program, requested to appear before the board to discuss the program.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the board. My name is Roy Keith Lloyd, and I'm here on behalf of the Southside Virginia Alcohol Safety Action Program, which is commonly known as VASAP. I want to first thank you for allowing me to address the board this evening. The Southside Virginia ASAP is one of 20 local alcohol safety action programs certified in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We are the only, and I do emphasize only, state-recognized provider in Appomattox County authorized to deliver DUI education and probation services. We are also the sole pathway for individuals convicted of DUI in Appomattox to relicense in Virginia. So why is VASAP important? I'll give you three quick stats. It's estimated that 37 people die in the United States due to alcohol-impaired driving every day. That's 1 every 39 minutes. In Virginia alone, there were 212 people killed in alcohol-related crashes in 2024, which was a 17.8% increase from the prior year. Lastly, there were 14,602 DUI convictions in the Commonwealth of Virginia in 2024, which was a 2.5 increase from 2023. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, the average offender drives under the influence over 80 times before being stopped. That's 80 chances for tragedy per person on Appomattox County roads. As you are aware, on June 1st, 2024, our office merged with the former Piedmont ASAP office, which was dissolved. Since that time, our office has supervised 285 referrals from Appomattox County courts. This includes 40 DUI offenders convicted in Appomattox County. Using the NHTSA data, that's an estimated 3,200 times a DUI offender placed an Appomattox County family at high risk in less than 2 years. Ignition interlock devices are key tools that we use to prevent drunk driving. BASAP is also the only agency authorized in Virginia to supervise these devices. Ignition interlock devices require breath samples before and during vehicle operation. Commonly, there are more than 8,000 ignition interlock devices serviced in Virginia monthly. In 2020, it was estimated 3.78 million attempts to drive drunk were stopped by these devices nationwide. The Southside Virginia ASAP currently supervises approximately 250 individuals monthly through these ignition interlock devices. So again, that's 250 potential drunk drivers prevented from operating motor vehicles each month. So, I also wanted to mention that our office provides pretrial bond supervision across the 10th Judicial District, with average daily jail costs at $166 in our region. This supervision offers a cost-effective alternative while ensuring offender accountability. Judge Spencer, the Chief Judge of the 10th Judicial District, recently emphasized that ASAP services are vital to all 8 counties in our district, supporting over 54,000 cases annually. So historically, VASAP operated entirely on offender funds, no tax dollars for nearly 50 years. Our FY 2026 budget is now $542,760. In order to continue providing local services, we're seeking a modest contribution of $5,000 annually from Appomattox County. This support will allow our office to maintain the needed staff and ensure continued offender access to essential supervision and public safety services right here in your community. I want to thank you for your time this evening and for your consideration of our request. I also want to thank you for the funding that was received during this current fiscal year. I do have further information with me, and I'm glad to entertain any questions you may have.
Any questions for Mr. Lloyd?
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Simpson?
do we currently have this is a question for either one, I guess. Do we have a representative from Appomattox County on your board?
Yes, sir. Sheriff Richardson.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks, Mr. Lloyd.
All right, thank you.
All right, next up, Mr. Don Jones, President of the Appomattox Tourism Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Hinkle. I'd like to, first of all, thank you all, the whole Board of Supervisors, for your opportunity tonight to come to speak and to give you kind of an update on what we did in 2025, look at 2026. It's hard to believe that this is the 8th time I've done this. And quite frankly, without your all support and that of the town, Appomattox would not have any tourism representation at any one given time. And I want to thank you for that and ask for it. In your packets, I included a piece dealing with some of the accomplishments from last year, the events. If we want to talk about them individually, we can start with the 160th anniversary of the surrender. It was the largest event held at the national park beyond the 150th, which was 10 years ago. They're doing another event this year as well. We will be advertising. We actually have already started to advertise that event. Again, our Christmas tree lighting ceremony, even though the weather was wet and cold and nasty, we still had around 2,500 people there. Our Christmas parade, again, like last year, has grown. We hope to grow it even further. Our window contest downtown, we had the largest participation of votes that we've ever had, and we got smart. We put QR codes in the windows of those that were participating. That helped tremendously in the number of votes that we got. Paper ballots were also turned in at the Visitor Center downtown. If we talk about the 4th of July, our 4th of July event brought into Appomattox some surrounding areas, somewhere between 3,000 and 3,500 people. This year we expect it to grow even larger because the premier event is a community-sponsored drone show. 200 air drones all at one time, runs about 20 minutes. John Hancock's from Henrico County. A contract has been issued. We have an entity has signed a contract with him to bring that drone show here. Touch a Truck, food vendors, other 250th anniversary events will be taking place on that day. It's July 3rd. Thanks to the town, again, there will be a massive fireworks demonstration to end that event. We're probably going to separate our Christmas parade from our tree lighting event and not do them on the same day this fall. We're looking at that. And we pretty much got it worked out how we can do that. We believe we can bring people to Appomattox on 2 weekends instead of one. So that we are going to do. Late last fall, we started a member sponsor program. We're growing our membership at different sponsor levels from $100 to $1,000. The intent there was to grow our revenue in order that we could expand some of the marketing opportunities that are present that we have not been able to use in the past. As an example, we have added another layer in our social media, which expands our market blend to states that connect to Virginia and to our area that actually brings people here. In 2024, the economic impact of tourism in Appomattox County was $19,515,397. I don't have the 25. It's too early yet. I should have them in the next 60 so days. So does tourism come to Appomattox? Yes, it does. I don't want to cover all these events that are here, but another thing that within the next 60 days, this is a newcomer brochure that we are putting together that will be given out to all new residents who come to this county and to other sources. We are developing a rack card with a QR code on it, and the rack card will be inserted into our current brochure that's 18 panels that's in all visitor center, so that we expand those that we can get to using smartphones. As you notice, I showed you the front side. On the back side, there are QR codes for different types of businesses. Our website, we are changing our website to be tourism areas, food, lodging, and recreation. And each of those will have a QR code and or a link to one website. What we've done is consolidate all the county websites from all sources into one. Every source that we have, whether it be the county site, town site, our own personal site, are linked to historic Appomattox, and all events are there. We had over 19,000 hits on our website alone last year. Doing what we've done will definitely improve communication. We've hired a marketing director on a part-time basis. Their role is to communicate or to contact people within the community and help us with our social outreach. This is a window sticker. It's not a sticker, it's a vinyl hang that will go on all the participants in our member program at levels, as I said, from $100 to $1,000. We've got approximately 12 right now. In the March-April issue of Outdoor Country, that has a circulation of over 60,000 magazines, and they say readership of 300,000. This ad will be in there in the March and April issue. It promotes our signature event for the spring of the year, the 161st anniversary of the surrender of General Lee to General Grant. Also, we have purchased 3 banners. Two of them are in place right now. One is at Appomattox Inn and Suites. One's at the American Civil War Museum. The third one will be downtown as soon as it arrives. All it advertises Appomattox. As I said before, we intend to, within the next 90 days, we will have a rack card. One side of the rack card will be the picture of Appomattox and probably the McLean House, the most recognized historic building here. And on the back side will be all the things I just said. Food and beverage, lodging, tourism, and recreation with the QR codes. I'll tell you a little story about this ad. On page 77 in your packet was a Virginia tourism guide. There's the Appomattox County ad. That ad originally, when we first started negotiation with the VTC and their new printer, that was $12,000. We said we can't afford $12,000. We're just a little low, all volunteer organization working with minimal income. So we finally got them down to about $5,800, which is about $1,200 above what we paid last year. The circulation on this thing, they print 160,000 copies. Goes all over the country. You'll find it in motels and elsewhere. If you read or see the Virginia Living, you've also got a copy of this. We were very, very fortunate. This young lady called me in October and said, I want to write an article about Lynchburg. And I said, no, you can't do that. Appomattox. And I said, no, we can't do it. We don't want any publicity. But no, I didn't tell her that. I said, how can we help you? So she promoted, she's got 4 pages in Living in Lynchburg, the magazine. We've also joined the Greater Lynchburg Business Alliance, and you probably wonder, why in the world is a tourism agency joining Greater Lynchburg Business Alliance? Very simple. For our membership, we got 4 weeks on an electronic billboard along 460 on the west side of town. April, July, October for Railroad Festival, and again, our Christmas events will be on that electronic billboard. It's not 1 day, not 2 days, it's a full week. We used it last fall, and it worked extremely well. Thank you all for your time. I could stand up here and talk to you about tourism forever. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Jones? And here I thought the most recognizable thing in that Maddox was you and your kilt.
I almost wore one tonight, and I thought, well, that wouldn't probably be the right thing to do.
Thank you for all
Thank you all very, very much for
Thank you.
everything.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do, Mr. Jones. You certainly put Appomattox on the map.
I really appreciate your all's help, and I mean that very sincerely, every one of you. Because without you, we're virtually nothing. Thank you again.
All right, moving along, next up is the public hearing on relocation of Piney Mountain District Polling Place. A duly advertised public hearing has been scheduled for the Appomattox Board of Supervisors to receive comments and consider a proposed amendment pursuant to Virginia Code Section 15.2-1427 and 24.2-306. The board will receive comments regarding proposed ordinance to amend Appomattox County Code Chapter 3, Article 2 elections. The Appomattox County Electoral Board has recommended to the Board of Supervisors the following change in polling locations. Specifically, amend the Appomattox Code 3.2-12D2 polling place to relocate the polling location from Oakville Ruriton Building, 181 Piney Mountain Road, Appomattox, Virginia, to Quail Run Wedding Building, 1433 Piney Mountain Road, Appomattox, Virginia. Staff recommends that after receiving public comments, consider the adoption of the amendment to the Appomattox Code, Chapter 3, Article 2, elections. And I don't have anyone that signed up for this public hearing. Is there anyone who didn't sign up who might want to say something? All righty. Hearing no one, is there a motion to approve the adoption of the electional change in the electoral Article 2 election, Section 2 on polling places?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make
Reverend
that
Jones.
motion.
All right, Reverend Jones made the motion to approve the polling place change. Is there a second? Mr. Wolfskill seconded. Discussion? All, roll call. Mr. Simpson?
Aye.
Reverend Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfskill? Mr. Hips? I vote aye also. So the recommendation to change polling places has been approved. All right, next up is resolution reaffirming Appomattox County as a Second Amendment sanctuary county. Attached for the board review and consideration is resolution reaffirming Appomattox County as a Second Amendment sanctuary. This is reaffirmation of the one we did in 2019. Would you gentlemen like it read or just accept it as printed in the?
I move that we accept as presented.
All right, Mr. Simpson's moved that we pass the resolution reaffirming Appomattox County's Second Amendment sanctuary as printed in the, second, Mr. Hips is seconded. Discussion? All righty, Mr. Wolfskill. Mr. Hips. Mr. Simpson.
Aye.
Reverend Jones.
Aye.
I vote aye also. So we are reaffirming that Appomattox County, Virginia is a Second Amendment sanctuary county. And I will mention we have the backing of the sheriff on that and our illustrious county attorney, Commonwealth attorney back there. All right, next up. Get back to the front here where the agenda is. Next up is declaration of local emergency. Attached is for the board's adoption is a resolution of the declaration of local emergency due to Winter Storm Fern, which began on Friday, January 23rd, 2026 at 5 p.m. and ended Monday, January 26th, 2026 at 5 p.m. Staff recommends adoption of the resolution for declaration of a local emergency due to Winter Storm Fern, which began on Friday, January 23rd and ended Monday, January 26th. The declaration reads as follows. Whereas the Director of Emergency Management at Appomattox County found on Friday, January 23rd, 26. Number one, due to Winter Storm Fern, Appomattox County was faced with dangerous conditions. Number two, that due to the Winter Storm Fern condition, anticipated extreme peril to life and property necessitates the proclamation of existence of local emergency. Three, the Director of Emergency Management has declared a local emergency at 5 p.m. on Friday, January 23rd. And fourth, the Director of Emergency Management declared the local emergency ended at 5 p.m. on Monday, January 26th. Now therefore be resolved that the Appomattox County Board of Supervisors consents to and ratifies the declaration of local emergency by the Director of Emergency Management. The emergency did exist throughout Appomattox County. It is further resolved that during the existence of said emergency, the powers, functions, and duties of emergency management organization of Appomattox County were those prescribed by state law and ordinance, resolutions, and approved plans of Appomattox County to mitigate the effects of said emergency. Is there a motion to approve the declaration of emergency?
So moved.
Mr. Reverend Jones has moved to approve the declaration. Is there a second? Mr. Hibbs has seconded. Discussion? Mr. Simpson?
Aye.
Mr. Reverend Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Hibbs? Mr. Westkill? I vote also aye. The declaration of local emergency has been approved. Next up is schedule a public hearing on proposed amendments to the zoning ordinance. After nearly a year of review and consideration, Appomattox County Planning Commission has recommended several amendments to Section 19.6-97 Utility Scale Solar Farm. The amendments concern application requirements, including the addition of several studies during the application phase, as well as decommissioning surety requirements, liability insurance, and environmental protection. Planning Commission voted 6-1, with O'Brien dissenting, to recommend these amendments. Staff recommends scheduling a public hearing on March 16th, 2026 at the regular board meeting of the Board of Supervisors. Is there a motion to schedule a public hearing?
So moved.
Reverend Jones has made motion to schedule the hearing. Is there a second? Mr. Hibbs has seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Scheduled hearing will be held on March 16th, 2026 on the proposed amendments to the zoning ordinance. Next, scheduled public hearing amendment to the comprehensive plan. The Planning Commission has been reviewing the approach to renewable energy policy statement for the past several months. The recently voted 6-1 recommendation as amendment to policy statement, which is found in Chapter 3, Growth Management. The amendment is more concise and offers guidance in the consideration of future renewable energy projects. Staff recommends setting the public hearing date for March 16th, 2026. Is there a motion to set the public hearing?
So moved.
Reverend Jones has moved to move. Is there a second? Mr. Wolfskill has made a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, public hearing will be scheduled on March 16th, 2026 for the amendment to the comprehensive plan. Next up is the consent agenda. The consent agenda includes approval of all bills, minutes, supplemental appropriations, line item transfers, and fund transfers. Any item on the consent agenda shall be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any board member prior to the vote of the consent agenda. Items removed from the consent agenda shall be considered by the board individually in order to which they were removed from the consent agenda immediately following consideration of the consent agenda. All right, you've all had time to read the consent agenda. Is there any changes? If not, we'll take a motion to approve. Mr. Wolfskills made a motion to approve. Is there a second? Mr. Hibbs has seconded. Discussion? All right, motion made and seconded to approve consent agenda. Mr. Wolfskill. Mr. Hibbs. Reverend Jones.
Aye.
Mr. Simpson.
Aye.
I vote aye also. Consent agenda has been approved. All right, next up we have the attorney's reports. No,
I don't have anything at this time, sir.
all right. Administrative report, Ms. Adams.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. You have the report in front of you, and I've also sent it out via email. So if you read it and have additional questions, feel free to reach out. I basically wanted to comment from the Finance Department that this week on site are the auditors for the FY25 audit. So you should be receiving that report in March. And our monthly earnings on the LGIP are about at 3.9%, which is about $75,000. The reassessment, the appraisal company had reported that they had performed 677 appeal hearings and 451 properties were adjusted. So the adjustments equated to about almost $18 million. And also, the county's Board of Equalization has posted their dates for citizens to make appointments to appear before them. Their first scheduled meeting is Tuesday, March the 10th. Don't forget that we do have the joint meeting with the school board on March the 10th at 6 p.m. And that will be held at the school board office. And we'll be discussing on the 31st of March the solid waste options that we had previously talked about at our budget meeting, as well as we'll be reporting the RFP findings on the insurance. Okay, you have other departmental reports. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to those department heads. Any questions for me?
All right, hearing no questions, we'll move on to supervisors' concerns. This time is for the individual board members to share information with other members of the board and the public. Items presented under this heading requiring action will be for a future meeting agenda or to request additional information from staff members. No items presented under this heading shall be acted upon at this meeting without unanimous consensus of the board. Mr. Simpson, your concerns.
I just had one, I guess, praise or shout out. I'm looking at the community development update from February, and in the last bullet point there, it says 244 customer interactions, and divide that by 30, that's 8 people a day. And Johnny, I know you work a full workload. You have stuff that you got to get done, and 8 people a day, I know would, we got to serve the people, but to have 8 people show up and, need 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever, that's a full work day. And I know it would, if I had 8 people show up randomly at my house while I'm working, I don't think I'd get very much done. So I just wanted to say thank you for all that you're doing. It's seen, it's appreciated, and we're lucky to have you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Simpson. Reverend Jones?
No.
Mr. Hips? No, sir. Mr. Westgill? All right, and I don't have any right now either. All righty, upcoming meetings are Tuesday, March 3rd, budget work session at the County Administration Conference Room, and Tuesday, March 10th, a joint county school board work session at the school board office. And then Monday, March 16th is a regular scheduled Board of Supervisors meeting here in this building. Next up, closed sessions.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, board will need a motion to move that the Board of Supervisors enter into closed session for the limited purpose of 1, consultation with legal counsel and staff pertaining to probable litigation where such consultation in open meeting would adversely affect the litigating posture of the county related to the boardroom construction project issues under pursuant to section 2.23711A7. 2, consultation with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice regarding regional landfill and water contract issues. 3, consultation with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice regarding a grand jury report. 4, consultation with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice regarding the Carver Price lease agreement. And 5, consultation with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters related to lease space in the courthouse, all pursuant to section 2.23711A8 of the Code of Virginia.
Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Reverend Jones has moved. Is there a second? Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion to move into closed session has been approved. You don't have to leave, we're leaving.
It might be a minute.
Well, this is
You're right, you're right.
I stand corrected.
Thank you for coming. Yes. I think we should. We'll be coffee. Yeehaw. Sure. How long does that normally take?
Yeah, it's about a minute long, but he also posted on his. It only had 2 posts.